I am the famous American. Welcome to ultimately the sequel of a sequel. I made a video that was called I Am an American in the USA. What do you really think of Americans like me? And I love the feedback. It's genuine. It's great. It's exactly intelligent feedback that I was looking for. Not simply people just bashing Americans and just really hyping up a stereotypes, but giving a good balance of the perception of Americans. I appreciate that. It was intelligent. And so the video before this one, in which I responded to that video, was me talking about World War II mentality carried over to modern day, even if it's quite irrelevant. I talk about how we're nearly 2 decades into a war with the Middle East. As Americans, I don't think we even understand it anymore. Ultimately, because 9/11, that's ultimately all we know. I know a little bit more than most people, and that is the people that hijacked the plane on 9/11 were from Kuwait, but no one's talking about that. Kuwait is ultimately an oil ally of the United States. But we're not at war with Kuwait. We didn't chase down people from Kuwait because they're our oil buddies. And so instead, it was just kind of a vague blame game of Muslims, Middle East, extremist, and we're fighting the wrong countries. Every country we've occupied or fought since this, Kuwait seems to never show up on that list. I think that's interesting, and I think that's peculiar. But I also think that it is a true stereotype about Americans that we carry over a World War mentality. We help save the world, World War II, and we need to keep doing it. So we're always ready for that next enemy, even if it's the wrong enemy. So I think that's why so easily, Vietnam, sure, why not, etc. And throughout most of my lifetime, I guess it was weird because for me in the 80s, there wasn't really a war. But then like for the past 2 decades of my life, like I'm turning 39 in a week from today. So it's almost like half of my life we've been at war with countries, and we're actually kind of confused by it. And I'm thinking, Kuwait, why is nobody talking about Kuwait? It's almost like one of those Jeffrey Epstein things, but Jeffrey Epstein, didn't kill himself. It's kind of one of those things, but it's just not a meme yet. So I want to backtrack to a comment that we had received from Max Smart. Here's something he had said in his perceptions of people in the United States. He says, the acceptance of violence of Americans actually scares me. So I think, and another person had kind of brought that up as well, as far as in defense of Americans, they were saying, but there's got to be a reason why this happens. There's got to be a reason why collectively the United States is more prone to violence. Now here's the thing. I didn't really know this. This is one of the benefits of running a YouTube channel in which I'm catering to people outside my own country. I'm learning about it. I've been hearing about this over the years, that when it comes to violence, America is all about it. But when it comes to sexual things, that's when we're like, whoa, you can't show that, you can't do that. So I think that's interesting. I didn't know that about our country. So we're very much into censorship when it comes to sexual things. But when it comes to violence, yeah, that's cool. So I mean, war movies help continue this. World War mentality. Oh, here's a war movie. It's Band of Brothers. It's whatever it is. It's a Kill Bill. Yeah, that's cool because ultimately violence is okay to watch and participate in because you need to be ready. You need to have your guns ready. You need to be ready for whatever to happen. I ultimately think psychologically, it all comes down to that World War II mentality. It was such a big part of our identity as a nation to feel that we helped largely win that war for the world. That's the mentality. So therefore, we're still bringing that into the year 2020. And it's funny because even like Sharknado, there's like, 5 of those movies now? Ultra-violent movies, but we don't even think of them that way. It's like, oh yeah, it's a kid's movie. It's fine. It's just sharks getting sliced up with chainsaws or blown up. It's cool. So it's interesting to try to remove myself from that and think, oh yeah, there is a lot of it. Even for me, when I was in junior high, that's when the Mortal Kombat games came out. And it was like contraband. It was like when I figured out the code so we can see the blood. on these games and see people getting decapitated and all this stuff. I mean, that's the generation I grew up in. That was junior high for me. So, and yeah, as someone else had mentioned another comment, we're responsible for a lot of the world's entertainment. We really are. And horror movies is a big part of it. Even when you go back to when I was a kid in the 80s, Friday the 13th, The Nightmare on Elm Street, Saw movies. Yeah, there's a lot of violence, a lot of slasher, gore type of stuff. But it's not looked down on here. I think it ultimately comes because of the World War II thing. Because violence is excused in the name of war. We watch our war movies. Hey, yeah, the guy's getting blown up, but it's accurate. That's what our forefathers went through. So if we can justify the violence there, it's a slippery slope. The violence is justified pretty much in any other genre. That's my theory on it, at least, as far as trying to understand why we're okay with violence. And when it comes to why we're more prone to censorship sexual situations, that I don't know specifically why compare us to people in Europe that's different. My guess is because we are predominantly a Protestant country. I understand we're not a Christian nation, like officially, because as part of our identity that we have freedom basically of religion and from religion. You can be whatever religion you want to. Can't have prayer in school unless it's a private school. But ultimately, when you look at collectively the mentality of our nation, we still are going to be largely Christian Protestant. There's still going to be that more conservative concept of, when it comes to sexual things, we don't want to know about it. When it comes to pornography, it's one of those things people don't even talk about that it exists. Like, it's taboo to even recognize that pornography exists. So I think that would be my take on that. You're looking at a people who is stuck in World War II a little bit. We justify the violence for that. We still largely have Christian values, which, when it comes to sexual things, we're gonna stay away from that. But violence is okay. Why? Because of World War II. That's at least my theory on it. I'm having fun. We've got the shovel. We're like digging a hole here, but not necessarily in a bad way. We might find little nuggets of gold as we're digging. We might learn something new about our identity. This is ultimately psychology. It's sociology. And I like it. And I like you when you are intelligent and provide good feedback to help me. Most YouTube commenters are like, you're ignorant, stupid American, obsessed with all. But then I have intelligent people, like the ones who left comments on that video. I'm like, yeah, see, now we can have an adult conversation. You could be a teenage kid, but if you have the maturity, I don't care what age you are. I'm looking for mature people to have conversations with. I can understand myself better from you. I can understand the country that I live in better thanks to you. Help me learn who I am as an American. Your comments on this video belong right here.